So, hello everyone. I'm Alex Levin. Hello. We're here together weekly to pause, to hit the pause button. Today, as I'm recording this, it's the day before Halloween, a day before, 2 days before Day of the Dead. Um, Things, but let's go back to the pause. And this time, maybe it'll be 20 minutes, maybe it'll be up to 30 minutes. We arrive right here, claiming presence, kind of finding, refinding presence that we're so naturally and importantly and frequently drawn away from. We're in the past, in the future, so much of the time. And yet, many of us, whether we indulge in this practice, or I don't know if indulge is the right word, or not, there's a great appreciation, isn't there, as things change in beauty, in the beautiful way, in the fall colors here in the northern hemisphere, in these oranges of this some sort of cherry tree in our backyard. Um, in in moments we maybe reunite with someone we haven't seen in a long time, as Matt and I did last night. Um, there are many ways that we're called to stop, to just pause. And that presence, many of my teachers have said something to the effect that presence, or the divine, or the all, or the boundless, wide open awareness, as I call it, wide open, boundless awareness, um, is very quiet. It doesn't um, shout to us like the news, um, or our mental habitual, maybe some neurotic to-do lists. And so it's very quiet. It never, as Adyashanti say it, he says something like, it never demands. It invites but never demands. Is that true? It feels like, is that true for, and in a way, the beauty of nature? And my vacation recently out in Colorado and Utah, in a way, I did feel that nature was shouting. It was just the night sky that's un, un, untouched by so much light. Um, the amazing chalk cliffs that you could see from my brother's house, the colors of the stone in Utah, and the big sky, all of that, it sort of does shout. So I might have to rethink that. Maybe it is shouting. It's just that maybe we are not hearing it the same. So what we'll do here is arrive, center. We'll move our attention. Maybe we'll move our body or body parts, but the primary thing is moving our attention, micro movement. And then we will just be still. That's the part that's usually called meditation. But I'm kind of looking for renaming that in a way, or defining it more clearly. Because I think meditation can be so many things. There can be walking meditation, there can be washing dishes meditation. But what I'd like to I like to come to here is the just sitting. So as I've been speaking, maybe you have been arriving. And I myself, just by sitting in this one spot, even though I felt a little bit of speed in my heart and voice, kind of a residual of not getting the internet connection, a little nervousness. Arrive. I'm really liking this word lately. And I do have the title of my theme, at least as I put it here, it might change, is masks. But for now, let's put that on the back side burner. But for now, let's continue arriving. Notice how you're doing that. Usually I'll give you, and I may get to this, I'll give you cues about this arriving. Hmm. But a little pause in our stream here. Make sure you're comfortable and have what you need. I have a cushion nearby, for I know that when my right knee will need. I have a shawl, a scarf that I'll probably toss on me as get a little cooler from stillness in this particular space, temperature. Maybe a block, and maybe in part of that planning, maybe you're choosing not to be seated, but to be lying down or seated with your back against the wall. In this first arriving part, something I did a couple times now, but very recently in that a 9.5 drive between my Colorado destination and my Utah destination, as I have learned from a previous long drive, to sense two things: to sense gravity and just go with it. Let the inner strands of myself through my lower back, through the layer beneath that of bone, the fascia that covers that, through the intestines, through my sits bones, through my pelvic floor. Just receive gravity and just go with it. And you may find in this phase it's a little counter to if you're choosing sitting. And if you're lying down, you can still feel these raindrops of gravity coming down through us. Um, you might feel like you're slouching a little, and just allow that for now and just arrive, arrive, arrive. And in this way, we're becoming more conscious of our body as it is right now, not as we hope it will be, as we've planned, as we've conditioned in the past, as we've fallen off our exercise regimens, our diet regimens that in certain ages really affect how we feel at certain times. And then as you're arriving, noting the sense that we're breathing, just how we're receiving the breath, how the body, without really having to do anything, but just being the observer, attending, witnessing our attention to the lung spaces. And the lungs are a large area from actually just above the front collarbones to even below or to the rib cage as it's probably at the sides and down. I don't know if to our navel, but maybe about that when we breathe in, when we really breathe in a deep breath. And not to say that you can't, so the passive observing, not to say that you can't take a deeper breath, but just be the observer, the witnesser as well. And my teacher Russell has, I think it was he that, I mean, he might have heard it from someone else, have this term, with-nessing. So we're observing, witnessing, but also there is a energy, intentionality of being with. And then I'd like to add another little quality of our attention that while notice that the attention is sort of has a beam, is a focus, and it can be a very narrow and it can be like it could be on just the tip of your nose as you feel your breath or the opening of the nostrils, or it can be that and the whole body, how it's receiving. It can zoom in, zoom out, but it can also sense that as you kind of move away from the body, you're still feeling yourself right here. So here's a play of our movement of attention, holding steady, feeling this central channel of where the breath in the body comes in and out, touching lung space, ribs, diaphragm muscle, pushing on the organs in the middle, torso, touching the skin. And then this other sense, while we hold that, this other sense of sound helps us with this. The sound out there, I'm motioning outward with my hand. My eyes are now closed. I know this room around me, even when the eyes closed. I know sort of the historic, at least, scenes out these windows. Bring our attention right here. I'm motioning to this center of my body and then jump it out there, even out to the further town you're in, or the fields or city, and even up toward the skies and out toward the stars and moon and beyond. Jupiter has been visible. And, and maybe you haven't lost all of that out there. And then go back out, holding a little bit of the in still. Breath in. Eyes move as we do that. Does anything change? Of the outer as we sense the right back lung space, the right back body. And just imagine it in my own experience right now, just as I've suggested that, I've already I feel more touch of the breath in the right back. Well, I knew where I was going. You might not have known that I was going to invite the breath to. So I'm intimating four quadrants: the right back, the left front, right front. I hadn't had not taken us out consciously from a down with gravity, but I brought in the breath, and perhaps with that and with our in and out attention, you've the levity, the partner of gravity has come in. Support my knee a little bit more. Right back breath there. And I've been aware of other things too. I'll come back to that. Left back. I'm sort of doing something with my breath. You could notice that you do and then let it go. Maybe re-arriving sometimes. I had a little shift to just I felt like I was leaning forward and it just automatically just my wisdom just brought me back to more centered. Sensing left back, receiving and releasing breath, and the movement that creates the expansions, the highlight of the body. Can we also be welcoming what's around us? Hear Tommy over there cleaning his paws. Right front. So much to be noting here, noticing, and especially feeling in the body without necessarily losing the out there sounds and messages. The feeling in the body, we may feel where there's a difference from how we've come to right front from left back, and how different that something different about it. Not just the location and obviously the shapes of the body there and the organs that are there, but what's maybe just listen for what you hadn't known or sensed before in the right front that's just here now, and sensing full, but also if there is only any emotional or psychological or um, even analytical, any of the other dimensions of us besides the physical. And then shift to the left front quadrant of the body, receiving, releasing the breath. And throughout this very micro practice, you might have noticed now looking back in the superpower of the mind of comparing, which can be used for kind and unkind purposes. That's another topic that you might have seen in this practice so far, that sometimes it feels like you're just relaxing and doing nothing and being breathed, receiving that breath that might have been those same particles that may have been breathed by someone in Norway or in Antarctica or in Kenya, in Singapore, just passively. And sometimes you may notice that you're engaging with, you're adding to, you're participating in your breathing. Sometimes a blend of both. Choice. Well, let's actually first just go to just an even, whatever's an even breath. No particular destination suggested. Attention to the body, breath, mind, heart, spirit in this collective way. Sometimes one by itself, but then inviting, adding, letting the others come in. Often insights can come about our experience, our something we might need, we've had a question about. So, to maybe expect it and not be, and be maybe surprised or not surprised, pleasantly surprised. And if there's any way that you would like to, for one more moment, to play with the breath, to invite it in any particular part of your body, breaths, just a, just a no agenda breath. And then we'll segue, I love that word, segue, to the sitting still part of this meditative practice. The sitting still part. So I'm transitioning with a sip of water, a sip of coffee. And so maybe you're just going to stay right where you are. Maybe you've made a movement as I have. And we will just sit for about 5 minutes together. Be still. So you might be lying down. You might be in a restorative yoga pose. Into that arrival, because each time, each moment we can arrive. Commitment and balance, commitment to and balance of gravity and levity. You in stillness, yourself with being present for yourself, witnessing, observing without jumping in, just with just that isolated and combined with the with, it's like this holding plus observing. Moment by moment by moment, something new, even with a lot of sameness. Ear has shifted, and my right eye is receiving more light, for example. Simple, so simple. We are never let me I always question when I say some things. There's always part of me that I think is good, but sometimes on overdrive. I was about to say we're never completely still as we're breathing. Maybe those I was gonna say maybe those that can hold their breath for long times, or maybe when that we're in that pause, maybe then we're completely still. But even then, our cells are doing things. They're moving around molecules. We're never, never completely still until we're not alive anymore. About that, most of us yet. We're, as Eric Schiffman's book subtitled Moving, or part of the subtitle, Moving Towards Stillness, the spirit and practice of moving towards stillness. More breaths. Bringing palms together in front of our heart, bowing to the hands, to the heart, to our own being, and to all out there. So in and out combined. Sensing what the meaning that you feel through the bodily gesture here. I'm leaving that for you to sense. We've had things that are brought down through our culture, but we also feel them through our body. We know them. We know them. So, this practice of noticing, of inviting the with-nessing, the inviting all parts of our being right here, of arriving and holding the space for it, looking, feeling, and noticing whatever comes, even if it's a feeling like I've got to run away from this, but staying, being still for it. This is an unwinding of, this can lead to an unwinding of traumatic response, of sensing what's true for me here. What was out there, what happened to me, is it true now? And or how am I holding this? And in a kind of alchemist chemical way, not that a horrible thing may not be happening to now, but a lot of what we carry is some sort of trauma, however, whatever the degree, everything is different. All of us have different experiences, but our own is so important and vital and has information for us. And we have the keys to, by entertaining it this way, a lot of times, what I've been noticing in my practice is once it's seen, And in a sense, given the warmth of our heart, like a kind attention, a lot of times it doesn't need anything else. It's ready to, like like the child who was hurt and just comes running. And oh, my connection is unstable. I better wrap up. And then it goes back to play. It's free. The energy is freed. So so happy to be in here with you in this practice. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, supporting me, joining us at sunandmoonstudio.com. Ciao, ciao. See you next time.